What is up, guys? Eastside here, back with another video. So in this video, I'll teach you how to do a city skyline in the sunset. First off, just create a new slideshow and then name it City Skyline in Sunset or Sunrise. Same thing. So first step in this is just to create your actual city skyline. So how I like to do it first is just by, just creating general blocky stuff, and I normally like leaving some gaps between the tall buildings. Just adds a bit of realism. In real city, I mean, it can't just all be shot, and it does add the illusion that they're a lot taller than they actually might be. So I'm just plopping some of these around and just kind of, messing with the general setup of the city. And some of them can be taller than others. But there is going to be one big, tall one at the center, and for that, I generate like to, let's make that a bit too small. Start with a rhombus, and then on the top of it, put a square so it matches the top part, and just send it all the way down. And normally, I also like to put a spire. It's a bit too thick, because this will be like the main central thing. That's still a bit too thick. So I just like putting a big old tall building in the center. Something just like that. Just kind of something to have. And then you can also do this kind of building style. And it can be a kind of smaller thing. But just continue placing some of the buildings and stuff. I normally like to leave a little gap in between some of the building, or especially in between the big old one. I like to leave a bit of a gap. So I'm just gonna build the skyline here to continue. Next step after this, I'll just come back by placing spires on top. But I can do that later. And then just to have a nice varied look and feel by leaving some gaps and such. Alright, now that I have this, next step I normally like adding is just some spires onto some of the different buildings, which can also increase the height factor, especially on some taller ones. So less taller ones. Just sprinkling in some spires around can never hurt. Just add more variation. Once you're happy with the skyline, you can just remove the border thickness, group it, just put black, and just look at it, see how you like it. This feels very empty. This building feels like too much of a gap and too much blank space. Same for here. I'm going to eliminate some of that gap. This area kind of seems like it's missing a building. Just going to plop something in right there. This area also seems like it could be using another building, so I'm just going to plop in something right there. And then once you've made your other adjustments, you can just regroup it. Now that you have that, the next step is the actual sun. So just make a very big circle. Make sure to group it horizontally and send it to back. Now go to gradient and create a custom gradient. Make sure to click radial gradient. You'll want it to be white in the center. And then along it, you'll just want different shades of orange, yellows. Normally for the very end, I like creating a custom color. It's kind of like a orange yellow. A bit more orangey there. Just like an orange yellow. And this one, I just like creating something, kind of in between. Expanding the white out a bit. This should be the main color on the sun, and that looks, pretty good. Now for the background color, what I would like to do is just create two little squares, put them right next to each other, and just extend it all the way across the whole background, and this should perfectly divide the slide in half, and just to center it, just to make sure it's in half under the border thickness there. Okay, so we're going to create another gradient. So for this, we need linear and with a which one was it? With a 45. So I like creating a custom color, which is just like a dark-ish shade of orange, the more vibrant orange, the custom orange, and then just in the bottom corner, just like creating yellow, and kind of just playing around with what looks good. I don't really see enough like colorful, or no, not enough colors, so I'm just gonna make that orange a bit more vibrant. Can make the yellow a bit more visible. Now this color kind of sticks out, so I'm just gonna remove it. I'm gonna adjust this point. Yeah, that looks pretty good. Then you're just gonna create that gradient and assign it to the other panel you had it. And then you can just rotate it horizontally. Make sure that you remove all border thickness, and there might be some lines. If you see any lines, just like hit shift and then the arrow, and that should remove the line thickness. I hate when that does that. Well, I'll just slightly do it, just so it shouldn't be noticeable, and you can just kind of go along here. Make sure nothing. Well, oh my gosh. Don't do that. It's being goofy. Well, this has been Z-Slides here, back in another video, and this has been how to teach you how to make a city skyline. Well, Z-Slides out.